The Concord Baptist Church of Christ was founded in 1854. Reverend Gary Simpson is the 10th pastor. I wanted to speak with you as you have such a large congregation, and I was looking at the demographics of this coronavirus thing, and
Right.
the demographics of the Black church.
Right.
Tell me what kind of challenges that you see in your congregation.
Well, thanks first for giving me a chance to just see you and talk with you in this very difficult time we are in. I think we have seen the impact, the immediate impact, as we have had 20 deaths within our church, and another 10 or so of people who are family members where our church congregants can't get to other parts of the country because their family members have died. And so we've we closed our doors, of course, for public worship. And so we've been doing virtual funerals via Zoom, remote funerals from the funeral home. And then many of our people were opting for an immediate burial with a memorial service to come once we get to some sense of opening our doors. I don't like it when people say getting back to normal, because we're not going back there. Whatever that was, it's gone as far as I'm concerned. We're going to be adapting to all of the implications for this for some time. I mean, that's one piece of it. The death is one piece of it. Of course, the sickness is another piece of it, and having members who are in the hospital who cannot be visited at this time. And then there are the repercussions we're not talking about right now, like food insecurities for people who cannot get to the store, don't have the resource, people who have been furloughed or laid off. Many of our people are the hourly workers in quote unquote non-essential capacities, and so you got that going on too. And not to mention, we've been spending time on Zoom with the parents and children who are home from school, because that's a whole new dynamic at the house. So we've been more busy, honestly, in this moment than we were when we had the building open. The building, I think, sometimes becomes an excuse not to do anything. Right? But we've had a lot of things that we've been doing. The people have been strong. We've been meeting, and we're catching a different kind of rhythm at this point with the folks who were there. Yeah.
So the relationships that would and the actions that would be taking place in the church are now sort of virtual and concentrated in the digital world. You're seeing that.
Right. One of what interesting things is, it's pretty. I have not gone to the church. I know some people broadcast their worship from Sunday morning, but I've been doing everything at home, and because I also want to model for the people that I think sheltering in place is the best move. Right. So if they see me at home, they might stay at home. And but I'll tell you, Brother Greaves, it's a little. It's very tempting not having to drive over to church or drive back from worship. So it's creating a different kind of atmosphere. I'm seeing people who are sheltered in place with their families, which I don't get to see when we're in the big space together, because people have responsibilities and all of that. Yeah.
So when you speak about what's happening with your peers, I'm sure you folks speak about what you think the future looks like. What kind of ideas do you guys have? You folks have?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think we spend a lot of our time kind of doing the group work that we need to support each other. Everybody is having their own, kind of manifestations of what this looks like. I think we all know that we are not going to be able to do some of the things that we have always done. We got to be concerned about the safety. Many of the older churches also have older memberships, right?
Yes.
So you've got to continue to consider vulnerable populations, even when you reopen your doors. I've seen some of my colleagues send their letters out already to their congregation, kind of giving them the play-by-play, saying that we're going to suggest. Who would have thought that a church would suggest that its members stay home, right?
Sure,
But for their safety, I think people are talking about that. And I think some of us are some of my colleagues, we all are concerned about the aftermath of this. You know, when we open up, the ripple effect of COVID-19 is that the unemployment and the delay that people have had, the grace period that people have had in paying their bills is going to be over. And the means to get ample work are going to be diminished as people get back. And so there's going to be a lull in the way people are able to both contribute and be present, coming back to a space, you know. So I think that's a part of the challenge too, you know.
Question, not a question, forgive me, I lost my train of thought, just went somewhere else. Oh yes, well, of course. Your outreach to the community, other than the congregation, what other things are you doing? I saw a press release about medical. Sure. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the medical debt relief was our attempt to make a statement about the high costs of healthcare. We were in the process of doing that as the virus broke out. But imagine what's going to happen with the many people who went in for hospital treatment now, who have thankfully been saved from the virus, but yet will have bills that will pile up upon them because of their services that they receive. So we wanted to call attention to affordable healthcare, and to our first entry into that was to eradicate all of the available medical debt that RIP medical debt had in Kings County. So we did that. We wiped out everything that they had in Kings County. Really? And that left us some stuff remaining. So we also made a sizable contribution in Newark, New Jersey too. We targeted those two communities principally because we know that in those communities, the people who have medical debt often are people, Black and brown people, and we wanted to help that. But of course, we have a credit union which is still viable, was in the process of moving beyond a church credit union to a community credit union, and being a part of a movement among credit unions to make their resources available to communities. So all of that was going on when when COVID hit, and of course a nursing home, which like many nursing homes face the challenge of residents who contracted, but they did conceivably what was happening in the industry, that relatively speaking, there were deaths there, and we certainly mourn those with those families, but they did not have the widespread. They got on it really early, and the staff did a great job in holding things down. Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You spoke of the credit union.
Yes, sir.
Credit union participating in the what they call the PPE or any of those?
No, they did not do the PPP. They were not quite ready to do that. But what they have been doing is, like, for example, Restoration Plaza has its employees connected now to the credit union. They have access to be credit union members. It started out as a church credit union, but we think that this, the matter of economic resources, financial literacy, and people getting the opportunity to leverage their money together so that others who may be in need could be helped. We think this is where the credit union should be, and we're very excited about some of the things they're doing now to make that happen.
So individuals outside, say myself, can join the credit union?
Yes, individuals like yourself.
Even like me.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think, when it was started in '52, it was basically for the church, and
Yes.
then we had a number of subsidiaries, and we made it so that their employees could be a part of it. And then all along we've said, anybody who's a member of a church, any family member of a member of a church could be a part. But now the credit union, the credit union body has given the opportunity for folks who are in financially strained neighborhoods to provide membership for anyone in the community. And so Bedford-Stuyvesant meets that requirement, and we're able to be really a community-based credit union as opposed to a church-centered credit union.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I will remind you, the first time that we had met, I had I'll remind you of this before, but I was standing outside your church, outside of Concord. My wife and I were giving out these flyers for Coupon News that became Our Time Press. Came over and said, "What's this about?" And I know, oh, gee whiz, we small businesses, et cetera, et cetera. He said, "Oh, give me some." He said, "Give me some." So I gave you some. And he said, no, this must be important to have you out here in this weather. Give me a positive, have a big congregation. And it was such an encouragement, at that moment. So I just wanted to thank you, and now I have this opportunity.
Well, David, absolutely. And this is, it was my delight that you were doing it. And we thank you for what you have been providing for us as far as news is concerned, that is responsive and relevant to the people who are the people in our community and the Black people who need to know what's happening in their community.
Okay.
I'll say this, you raise this thing. Here's another thing I think is very important in this COVID piece. So, I have not had a haircut in 2 months, right? But it's important to me my barber isn't able to get his, he's not able to get his resources because his business is closed.
Sure.
So we have to support those Black businesses. I'm telling everybody, even if you haven't had a haircut in 2 months, if you're able, send what you were going to send to your barber, to the people in your hair salons. We got to start, as we start putting back the economic pieces, we got to make sure that Black people are part of the economic engine that's going to get us going again. The small business owners, people just like you. I hope people will get a resource of Black businesses that we can support in our neighborhood, right?
Sure.
People who can provide services for us that we could use in this moment as we're all getting adjusted. I think this is a great opportunity for us to be very, very deliberate and intentional with the few resources we might be having in the next few months. Yeah.
So yes, that's right. You sort of do the best you can and build from what is to what will be.
Right.
Do it ourselves. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And I think I think it's important that we make sure that we lay the anchors, no matter how small, to encourage people. There's no question that our people are able to do businesses and to thrive. Yes. It is the opportunity. It is getting into the market, not getting closed out because somebody else has more reachability than we do. So we've got to start some of these very intentional ways of finding out who our folks are who can give us quality services. I mean, plumbers, electricians, house painters, fix-it people who can do really good work so that we can help, because these are the people who are in our churches too, many of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you very much. I don't want to take up more of your time, but if you have anything else you want to add, please do. If not.
Well, I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you, and I hope we do this more. I mean, this is one of the things that this moment has taught us. There are some connections we can make very simply, which schedule a meeting to come to a place to sit down and talk. You think about all that movement you've done
That's right.
for that small amount of time. And again, let me thank you for getting, you and your wife, for getting the news out, getting the news to the people. And I'm very encouraged about what's coming. We got a lot of work to do. We will not be out of when the health concern is lessened. There'll still be a lot of recovery for COVID-19, and I'm looking forward to seeing you out there and helping to kind of do the good things that need to be done.
All right, thank you, and I'll be we will be back in touch.
All right, take care. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you so much.